And there's our video. Looks like Jeff Silversmith is on as a guest. All selectmen are present. Anybody to hear from the public? Anybody from the public? Okay, moving on. First selectmen's briefing. Our Ashford state of emergency, the burn ban is going to remain in effect until the extreme fire danger abates. I'm going to expect to hear from the fire chief when he thinks it ought to
I'll
come
tell you
down.
when they tell me.
Same
We're hoping
here.
for rain Thursday, but that's the thing. And they say maybe 3/4 of an inch, but I'm not gonna hold my breath until we get some.
Are we having any water issues that you're aware of?
Not as of yet that I'm aware of. We did check the dry hydrants yesterday.
Good.
There's a couple that are questionable, but they're not unusual at the moment.
Okay. Moving on, open job positions, senior center director / agent for the elderly. This was posted on multiple sites. Chris can confirm CCM, Indeed, Chronicle. Can't remember if it was put on a senior center organization site or not. With an annual salary of $58,240 and full benefits. We have received no additional responses. We did have a person respond before. I would like to, if it's okay with the selectmen, because today was the cutoff for submitting them. And I did notify that other individual that it had been reposted. I would like to set up an interview.
Sounds good to me.
Thank you, sir. Okay. What's your availability this week?
This is a tough week for me.
All of us.
I hate to say this, Saturday.
I'll give her a shout. See if that works for
I'm
her.
gonna be out of town
If it's
tomorrow.
not Saturday, could it be next Monday? What's that look like?
The only thing I've got next Monday is a night meeting. You want to set something up like for 10 o'clock or?
Something like that.
Was she working?
Yes, the person works.
So you'll have to check. see
However, the person did come in during their a lunch time before.
Well, why don't you check with her? And
Okay,
I'll be flexible.
okay. How about you?
I'm flexible. I've got a dentist thing first thing in the morning, but that's at 8. So.
Oh, Dennis, huh? Emergency Management Director, that's a pretty critical position. We have no applicants today.
I nominate Paul Barger.
No.
You can't do that, can't do double roll. You need them in
I don't have
both
enough-
places.
I don't have enough body for it.
Okay, Ashford website replacement, the new website was launched on November 13th as planned. Anybody go out there and look at it?
I've been up there. I haven't had time to put a lot of time into it.
Okay, it's a work in progress, so we've asked for the public's patience as we continue to update town information. It has the same link as the old website. And the public can sign up on the new website to receive agendas and minutes via email and or text as soon as they're posted. Well, there's a
Ms.
process.
Silversmith?
Yes.
Hi, I know I missed my opportunity for public comment. I had stepped out of the room. I just wanted to say that I used the new website to get in. It was the fastest I've ever been able to get into a meeting.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Couple of clicks and I was in. It wasn't a lot of searching, wasn't a lot of this one over that one. It went great.
Good. I see, look, we have Lauren Olson is on as well.
Yes, I am. Once Catherine told me where the link for Zoom was, I was fine. It was fast.
Okay. Kudos to Sherry Much, Karen Zulik, and Mike D'Amato for their work in bringing this town communications improvement to the public. They did a lot of work on it and a lot of tears and effort. So nice job. Land Use Department, scanning of documents. As reported during the November 6th Board of Selectmen meeting, the estimate for scanning and indexing documents in the Land Use Department is $50,000. We're working with NECOG to determine how to make this information available online to the public via GIS. So if you go to the place, you can see everything about it. And I don't anticipate there's going to be a lot of costs associated with that. Knowlton Memorial Hall gutters. The vendor has patched the gutters 3 times. I think we paid $3,000 to do like a patching thing. We thought it was going to save us a bit of money, but they're not holding. Another company checked and said the gutters are pitched the wrong way, which is why they're holding water and leaking. The recommendation is to replace them. The original estimate for replacement back when was $10,000. I don't know what it is, what it would be today. And I just,
My recollection, and I think we're outside that window, but the company that did it, I thought gave us a 12-month guarantee.
I think the 12 months are about up. It's November, mid-November.
I want to take a look at that, see how it's written.
We are
Because that was supposed to be, if they come back, they correct it.
3 times.
Yeah,
All right, Knowlton Memorial Hall lights, the outside lights, we're replacing the bulbs. They were working on it yesterday morning.
it's pitch black out there right now. I checked.
Or was it, no, it was this morning. Today's Monday.
Okay.
And I'm in Ashford, right?
You're in Ashford, but when I came into the meeting, I
Out
just,
here?
yeah,
No, it's not those lights. I'm gonna get to those. That's not Knowlton Memorial Hall lights.
okay,
The Knowlton Memorial Hall lights are over in front of the hall.
okay.
So they're replacing those. The town office building outside lights, we're determining whether to replace the LEDs or replace the poles and lights with more modern down-facing lights. Can't take advantage of the state or / Eversource discounting that we used before for switching to LED lights, as they're already LED lights. So can't use the switching thing. So we're working with our electrician on that, and they were here this morning working on it.
Has he given you any ballpark figures?
Not yet.
Okay.
The also, just as an aside, we have a dead evergreen tree out in front of Knowlton that Public Works would like to take down, unfortunately. And
Is it our Christmas tree or the?
it's not the big Christmas tree. In fact, what they're going to do this year is they're going to put lights on the big tree. And with that, they have to buy some additional lights.
We were notified a couple of years ago that that tree was diseased and now it's way out.
Yeah, I looked at it today and it's time for it to go. Right, and Old Moore property at the entrance of Pompey Hollow Road. Economic Development had asked us a while back, and I talked with a couple of people from that committee. They'd like the Board of Selectmen to form a committee of a few Economic Development Committee members and local realtors or people with realtor experience to assess, determine potential uses for the property, and develop a strategy for marketing the property.
That was done. There's no harm in revisiting that.
All right, so if I
When
if
was
I
it
can
done?
get
Was
the,
it Ralph or during Mike, Chris?
sorry,
The Moore property, they had put it together a committee.
yeah,
Was it Mike or Ralph?
Mr. Pinkham. Arthur Pinkham, can't remember who else, we got an
Yeah.
appraisal done.
so this
It
one
might
is
be
really
some good
looking at the,
research stuff.
yeah, this is looking at the property and going, what can go in there, working with some people that know how to market property.
That's what they were doing,
Yeah.
supposedly.
Well, they've
I,
asked us to,
I think Lawrence was on that too, wasn't he?
you know,
Gary
Probably.
Lawrence?
But the NECOG engineer put together a kind of site plan. of What he thought the property could accommodate.
You know, consideration of setbacks and all of that, but I would support revisiting that. We
good,
may have some research so they don't recreate the wheel they've already done.
right, and we do, and Chris pulled together a whole pile of research on it that can be shared with them. They haven't come in here yet. But ultimately, what we'd like to do, and I'd like to do for our next meeting, is establish what that committee is, because they're looking to have some realtor type people on there. Okay, steep grant for Southworth Drive is ready for initial state review. I
What are we
was,
gonna do on Southworth?
we
Oh,
did,
This is the reimbursement?
yes,
Okay.
reimbursement for the steep. Also, I was approached by Willington, and then met with Stafford and Tolland as well about potential for sharing the building, a new facility, and ACOs, animal control services. The issue is that Ashford, Willington, Stafford, and Tolland animal control facilities do not or will not meet state standards that are going into effect January 1st, and I didn't know if it was 2027 or 2028. So we've just had some initial conversation, and what I asked them to do was kind of lay it out. If all of the towns were involved, how would that parse out? Because they talked about using each town submitting a steep grant towards it. And of course, we need steep grants for other things. So I'd like to just see how it parses out. And also, all of the people, let's see, Willington, Stafford, and Ashford all use the same animal control officer. It was made very clear by all three of those towns that we want the same animal control officer. Okay.
Well, she's on a year-to-year contract, right?
Sorry,
Our animal control officer's on a year-to-year
Jennifer?
contract.
she gets reappointed every year.
Right.
Everybody is pleased with her service.
Yeah, I'm very happy since she came on.
Something came up as an ARPA consideration, and it's not on our little list. It was I talked with Casey today. And that is a walking path at Pompey Hollow Park. Its estimate is $20,000 for Public Works to install a stone dust and gravel walkway behind the pickleball courts and along the Mount Hope to connect with a similar walking path located behind the Housing Authority building.
I'm very familiar with this. Now, the property that between 89 and that side of the river
Yeah, it's not over there.
used to belong to, yeah, but it abuts that area, is the only reason I'm mentioning it. It used to belong to Mr. and Mrs. Pesca. And at one time I had approached them at an appropriate time donating that to the town, because there's no use, it's unbuildable and everything else. Knowing that they have left us now, that may be something that we'd want to keep an eye on, whatever is probated.
So that's one part of it. The property that I'm referring to here is our property on if you were to look at the Mount Hope, if you were looking from
Yeah.
44, it's on the left side of the Mount Hope.
Yeah.
Okay, and what they're looking at is, what Casey's looking at is a pathway there so that the elderly, the disabled, whatever, can go through there.
Yeah.
And so it would be on the high end up near the pickleball court, and then stay high and go around and then connect with another path of like materials.
There's not a lot of high land there.
No, I know, I went and walked it. Yeah, it's about 1,000 feet. That's what he estimated. So that's 20,000, and it
Would that include upgrading the existing walking trails behind the housing and that?
no, this is just this one,
Just that,
just to make one there. That they may have noticed they've taken it all down, all the growth they've taken down there. Okay, the sign in the field on Ference Road, Route 89, across from Cash's Country. More than a dozen individuals have contacted me, either in person, by phone, email, and text. In fact, I can't go anywhere without somebody asking me about this. I put out a $200 reward for names and addresses of the individuals who put it up. I expect they may have been the ones that spray painted the Mary Garrett sign that was up in the field as well. I know my husband saw that one. And
I'm
that
sorry,
was,
spray painted what?
they spray painted, we thought they spray painted Tramp on it, but they spray painted, I suspect it was Trump. They spray painted with white on the back of it. So from the area that you could see from Dennis's house. So anyway, I have gotten the names, some names. Also, the police went out there last Friday night just to have a conversation with him to see if it would be possible for him to take it down. The concerns, there's two concerns people have. One is primarily from the parents, because their kids are seeing this sign on the buses when they're going to and fro. Kind of hard to explain. And the other one is because they think it just makes the whole area look like a bunch of yahoos.
Now, the police talk with Mr. Sabina.
Yes, they did. They did not call me back. I'm the one that called them to say if,
You did
ask
get
if
my
they,
voice message on that, right?
nope. What voice message?
I left, the day you called me, I went down there within the hour.
Oh, how'd that go?
I met with Mr. Sabina,
Yep,
who looked me up when I was looking at the sign.
Yeah.
And after I got home, I called on your, I think on your personal cell, left your voicemail about that conversation.
oh, okay. I didn't see
And
that.
Mr. Sabina had granted permission, he didn't give me the name of to who.
I know who.
And he was very adamant that he wanted that sign to stay, he felt it was a constitutional thing.
Actually, what he
and-
told my husband was something a little different.
I'm just telling you what I heard from him. He cited the Fifth Amendment. I think he meant the first. But he was rather adamant about that, about it not being removed. I informed him that in eyeballing it and why it was outside my car near the sign looking at it. It looked like it was out of the state right away and on his property,
Mhm, it is.
and it was his call.
Mhm.
I suggested that he revisit his permission on that, but he didn't seem to want to entertain that.
Jeff, are you on here? I know, I didn't know you were gonna be on. Could you tell us what Mr. Sabina said to you?
Could you give me a little, he said a number of things besides, in what context?
In terms of leaving the sign up.
He basically said that it was young, teenage kids that came over to ask to put it up. He was very excited that someone was so passionate about politics. We then got into the discussion about, he did not share with me who they were either. And the whole thing with the signs and such is his statement is that it's an honor to his uncle, Tommy Sapina. Look, I saw the heads drop. Yes. That was his statement to me. And I kind of said, I'm sure Mr. Sapina, your uncle would have been very proud of the fact that such language is being put up there for others to see. And I just basically said it's divisive and it's not the America I grew up in. And he said, well put to me. And I was hoping there was going to be some movement there, but there seems to not be.
All right, so I do have some names. Walking path, I already went through that, right? Okay, and I have it in here twice, I'm sorry. That's all I have for a selectmen's update. Do you have any questions about anything else going on?
No, I think you touched on it.
Okay. All right, moving on, acceptance of minutes of regular meetings of October 7th, October 21st, and November 6th.
Move to accept,
The 7th,
yeah.
Second,
thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
I,
Aye. Motion passes, thank you.
I'll move to accept the October 21st minutes as submitted.
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Motion passes. November 6th,
Move to accept,
I'll second.
all in favor?
I,
aye.
Aye. Motion passes, thank you very much. Hear from boards, commissions, committees. While we don't have somebody to hear from, what I'm trying to do, and it's gonna take a little extra time tonight, if I can do it, is I'd like to get something into the citizen that says, here's where our openings are. We lost a member of the Conservation Commission, Steve Marico. And we also lost a member of the Inland Wetlands Commission, and for the life of me, I didn't write her name down. So I'd like to put something in the citizen, I think we've talked about this before, to say, here are the openings on the boards. I'm just not sure that I have enough information on minority representation, that kind of thing. So if I can't get it in this month, then I will get it in next month.
I think it's a good idea to have a running.
I
article
agree.
With openings particularly. Do you mind if I address something to Jeff for a second about this matter?
Sure.
Jeff, have you received notice of a upcoming vacancy on the planning and zoning?
Yes, I have. I was on the same email. I think you were, Bill.
I don't have that one, do
I
I?
didn't see the email.
Oh, you didn't see an email?
I was just approached and
Oh,
suggested that he
Oh.
talk to you, and he said he was gonna do that anyway.
okay, that's fine. If that's where you want, I was gonna bring it up with the reports from the boards and commissions, but yes, we have a resignation by Jeff Schillinger as of the first of the year. And I've asked him to send that, it'll become official once he sends it into the town clerk. So I asked him to send that on.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thanks, Jeff.
And the replacement on that per the bylaws is selecting from the current slate of alternates that we have. Hopefully we can talk somebody into that. And then it would be the selectman's office to appoint an alternate after that.
Thank you. Old business, Ashford School roof replacement project status. We're at this point, the financials, a lot of the financials have been submitted to the school to submit to the state. They're going through those now. Chris did a very nice job making sure that was all pulled together. And as far as the remaining work, we have a punch list. I don't know where the punch list stands, but I'm sure that they're working on that. And we will anticipate having the skylight ready for, as we planned, for the last week of December, when school's out.
Has there been any further discussion about the lien waivers and that sort of stuff, Catherine?
Lien waivers.
Lien waivers. We've gone over this the last couple of meetings we've had. Any subcontractors that our contractor brought in at the end of a project or to
I
submit?
thought you brought that up at a meeting, at a Thursday meeting, and they said you would get them at the end of the project.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So I was trying to figure out if I had said that we were gonna get them sooner. Okay, thank you.
Now, one
Oh,
other question, it's not
sure.
about the roof, but it's about the school. Is there an issue with reimbursement on the oil tank?
There may have been, I think it's been resolved.
Oh, it has?
I think the problem that came up, if I can describe it correctly, is that when the town was arranging for the oil tank and the replacement oil tank, I don't think there was a bidding process. Remember, it got split, that we were doing the oil, something with the oil tank separately.
Mhm.
So that was part of the issue. So I know that the superintendent contacted Senator Gordon and Representative Pat Boyd to help her with that, and working with the town. And Chris, did we get an approval from the state? I can't remember. I thought we had some document that came through to us. Chris?
I'm sorry?
Hi. On the oil tank, did we get something from the state that said it was approved?
No, I think it was rejected.
It was rejected at first, but I thought we got another
I
thing
think
from
it
the
was still
state.
rejected because we got we got a reach out from CHRO. which we sent up to the school because they prepared the reimbursement. And the answer that was sent to CHRO was that it was rejected.
So at that point, that's when the superintendent,
No, this was just the other day.
oh, have I seen that?
There was nothing to see. It came from CHRO. We thought it was Imperial. It turned out it wasn't Imperial.
Yeah,
It was the oil tank project. And we sent it up to the school because they prepared all the documentation.
Yeah, Cindy did that.
I'll do a follow-up on that.
Yeah, I had just heard from Senator Gordon.
Oh,
that-
okay.
That he was gonna be getting together with Pat. And
Well, they
that
hadn't
they
yet.
thought there needed to be some tweaking done. That they were gonna do once they go back into session, hopefully, and be able to resolve it, but I
Good.
didn't get any of the particulars or anything on it. But I
Good.
know our state rep and state senator,
I gave,
had conversations apparently with Cindy.
yeah, I gave Cindy their contact
Good,
information.
good.
But I will definitely do a follow-up on that, because I thought I saw something different. Okay. Oh, God. Finalize town building use fee schedule and Ashford Food Bank donation policy.
Pat,
Please don't ask me about that. Thank you. Act on reallocation approvals of the following items included in the ARPA accounting. Okay, so this is like making sausage. You have Kristen, nice job of laying out the, she colorized it. And I'm sorry, the folks on the screen don't have it. I only have the hard copy. So looking at the colors, the beige color or tan colors, ARPA funds have been received. Okay. How much was received? Then what was spent to date is in gray. Then spent but unapproved by town meeting is in green. Those items are things like TVCCA food, senior nutrition program, Ashford Citizen laptop monitor, etc. That's 1,740. The CES building systems evaluation. We approved it at our Board of Selectmen meeting. And what do we have here? EHHD, Eastern Highlands Health District. I'm not sure, I don't recall what that is.
They just asked for part of our appropriation.
Okay.
They hit all the
So we
terms.
approved it at the Board of Selectmen meeting, but not at town meeting.
Mhm.
And then we had King revenue loss calculation, if you recall that complicated thing that made it so we could use ARPA funds for more than very highly COVID related issues. And then the Cheryl Baker Zoom subscription reimbursement of $150.
That was before we hired
Tyke.
Tyke.
And then the vaccination clinics was approved by the Board of Selectmen. And actually for two of them, I guess. And what else do we have? Anything else up here? It shows the ARPA admin for 23-24 was not. It was approved by the Board of Selectmen. That's up at the top, I'm sorry. And then Text My Gov was approved by the Board of Selectmen in 2021 for 4,200.
What do you want to do about Tyke? Do you want to do a contract with Tyke until December of 26? For Zoom meetings?
If you were doing that, do we have an estimate of how much that would be? We have a
Laura's gonna
contract that
have to
goes,
give me a,
we have a contract that goes through June.
I'm sorry?
I believe we have a contract that goes through June.
Right,
So it would have to be another contract that would be for July through December.
Right.
Yeah, we could get the estimate for it. It also becomes, do we want to continue to have a reliance on Tyke for our Zoom meetings? And I looked at it and I'm thinking about what it takes to set them up. They have the Zoom account, if you will, set up in their domain, not in ours. So that's how they've been managing it, and we would have to set one up in ours. And we would have to have someone here, actually, provide the links for the Zoom meetings. I mean, I set up Zoom meetings all the time for something else. So it's not hard, but they would have to be at the beck and call of whoever needed a Zoom link.
Could we accomplish what we're trying to supply to the general public through a Teams program instead of the Zoom?
We could, but what would happen is I don't think you can do the recording the way we're doing the recording. And if,
Can we check into that?
sure, right,
Because there's no, once we would do that, there's no individual meeting costs with the Teams.
understood,
if I remember
understood.
right.
But I think that the recording, you'd have to have a process to not only do the record, you can record a Teams meeting. I haven't done it, but I know you can do it. But then it's a matter of getting it out to the public, and how do you do that? So right now, our stuff goes out to. What's it called? It's not Yahoo,
I think it's nice
YouTube.
to
Goes
have them.
YouTube.
help me,
Goes to YouTube.
YouTube, thank you. I'm not a big
I
YouTube
think
person.
it's nice to have them recorded,
Very
so people
nice.
can go back.
Not only them, but we go back to make sure we got the minutes right.
And I mean, I've done that frequently, or, in the past. But I think the Teams at least meets the intent of informational requirements for the public.
Actually, not for planning and zoning, it does
Yeah,
not.
you know what, you're gonna, there may be a problem with Teams, because Teams, you need an invite, I believe.
Yes, you need an
Right.
individual invite.
And I may be
With Zoom, you
wrong, but I
don't.
mean, we
Couldn't
use
link
it
it
at
through
work.
the town webpage.
No, you
No.
gotta do it to
I
their
mean, I'm
email.
sure there's a way, but I don't know how that, I know at work, we use Teams, and you have to have an invite to get in.
That's
Cause it's
good.
running us, what,
Versus-
$150 a Zoom meeting, roughly? I remember that right.
I don't remember how much it is. Chris,
like
did we ever get an
150 is in
estimate
my-
for how much it would take to go through the end of June? Cause I would just double that for next year. It was kind of like if we were going to approve something, it would be at
Laura
least
said
that.
something like $125 a month, but I'm not sure what she was referring to.
I think
I
it's more
think-
than that.
I
I hope you're right, but I think it's
I just
think
can't
it's
remember.
per meeting.
Anyway, I actually, if we know the number, I would recommend that we continue with Tyke for now, because it's gonna be, I don't know if you got bandwidth, but in terms of trying to figure out how we could do it differently. And now as I hear what Paul was saying, with my IT background, I'm pretty sure you cannot do a Teams
You need
meeting
an
as
invite.
Without invitation.
without personal invitations. Pretty
Well, why
sure.
don't we research if there's other alternatives, but I think we ought to go forward and do it to it. Now, we don't have those fundings in the ARPA recommendation for town meeting though.
Not yet, we can put something in.
So you're thinking of doing it out of our budget?
Actually, yeah, we were just going, once we've exhausted our ARPA funding for it, yes, it would be out of town budget. So when I think of town budget, I think of the next fiscal year. What I think what Chris was suggesting is that we take advantage of the fact we've got the ARPA funding and make it not just make it for all of 2026, I'm sorry, 2025. Which would be, did we have any, we didn't have an annual contract.
I don't think so.
I think it was in their contract that they would submit it.
Something I
We
remember
weren't we
seeing.
paying it out of ARPA all this time?
Yes, that's true. And originally, I don't think we realized, I think
guess
that's
my
where Cheryl
question
was put it.
is, I'm assuming this December meeting is our last meeting that we're gonna have to designate the
Right.
remainder of our ARPA, but you're telling me we haven't got anything in here for
Right, so we don't have that
ARPA,
estimate.
so we don't have the choice anyway. I mean, it's gonna come out, ultimately, it's gonna come out of town budget.
So when we look at this, I thought we were looking for an estimate, at least for the
Let
next
me,
6
let
months.
me get a purchase order.
Okay, that would be good. Okay. Um,
Did we want to go to Paul while we're waiting or whatever and let him give us an oversight of what we're talking
yeah,
here?
Paul, in the end, what did you come
Okay,
up
so
with?
here's what we did.
I read your memo. I don't know.
Yeah, so, I went back.
Can
We had the
everybody hear?
discussion and I went back and all I did was I had him add additional air packs to the quote and then that's, that, let me find it, hang on, that's right, I just had it a minute ago. I'm gonna do something.
Yeah, 61, 139.
Right, yeah. So that, and basically. The idea with it, yeah, there's two parts. There's one for the rig pack. It's just a separate quote because that's how we ran it. And then there's another one for 6 air packs, which completes one truck, the first in truck. And then 16 masks, which gives all the interior firefighters the upgraded mask, which you need for the new air pack. Which
So-
also, they also
Which you
work
said are
backwards.
mandated now?
Yeah, they're mandated now, so they
So-
work backwards too, so.
So Paul, on our agenda, it says allocation of 61,150 for the purchase of air packs and masks for the volunteer fire department. Hey, is this what your overall overarching estimate is for what you've asked for?
That would be for 6 air packs and yes, well, it's actually 7 air packs total, 6 for the trucks and 1 additional, which is a. I hate
Okay.
that, I don't even know. how
So
to
it's 7
describe it.
air packs, and what else is it?
16 masks,
RIT back?
the RIT, oh,
The
right,
RIT.
right, and
7
16 masks,
masks.
which are the part of the air pack, but they don't come with the air pack.
All right, and that's 61,150. Did you look at any alternative financial sources for it?
Yeah, I've applied for 2 AFG grants and been denied, and I'm working on the 3rd round.
Someone said no to you?
Yeah.
Will this, seeing if this goes through, and I'm assuming it will, are you going to be needing additional packs?
Yes.
Come for
We have-
CNR
we have
this
20
coming
air
year?
packs. We have not this, well, we have 20 air packs. When the new NFPA standard gets finalized in 2025, those air packs, when they go out of service, cannot be put back into service.
Even the new ones we just bought the last
No.
2 years?
We haven't bought any new ones.
Oh, I thought we did. Oh,
No, I think you were holding off and now you've
Well,
kind
we
of,
couldn't, I mean, yeah, so. So the idea was. One of the major problems is when you buy 20, and that's what they did last time, right? They bought 20 air packs all in the same year with the capital,
yes.
CNR.
which is a long time. I mean, I think it's 15 years, 20 years ago now, believe it or not. When you do that, then when something like this happens, now all your air packs become obsolete.
So what you want to do, you want to,
So I applied for the AFG grants, it was denied,
yeah,
or AFG grant, they were denied. And quite honestly, probably because I know other towns that got them for air packs, but theirs were older than ours, so I can't really complain. But, so in this case, because we had funding left, and now the RIT pack was the driving force behind this, and I said, then if we do as many as we can, so to speak, at once, and then I'll reapply the AFG grant, but that also reduces the amount that I need to apply for from the grant, which will hopefully increase the opportunity for me to get the grant. And also it divides up the purchase time
That
because
staggers them.
if you get an AFG, if I were to get the AFG grant for 2024, that's how they do it. I wouldn't even get the funding till 25, the end of 25. So the packs wouldn't come in until 26. So if there were any other changes, they would already be applied. 3M Scott does a good job. Like I just talked with a gentleman, our vendor, they know that there's probably gonna be some other changes, and they've already prepared for that for those new packs, so if we, say we purchase these 6 packs this year, when that change comes about, they already have the stuff in place to make that without any additional. But they have to wait, because if something changes on the NFPA regulation, then they're backpedaling, and they don't wanna do that, I don't blame them.
All right,
So
so,
these new ones that we're proposing to buy this time, they're not gonna be outdated when the new standard comes out?
No, they meet the new standard.
Okay.
That's it.
and how long are they supposed to last?
So
That all depends on when they update NFPA regulations. It's the
So-
weirdest formula ever. It basically, whenever they change the NFPA regulation, they allow you to go back 3 times. So this will be the 4th change for these packs. It just happens to be so many years. There's actually no time stamp on it or date stamp. These, I think he said most of ours are 2000s. So like, 24 years, that's a long time, but there was a long period of time where there were no changes in the air pack regulation. And then there was several in a row, and in fact, most of the manufacturers came back and applied some of those regulations that weren't necessarily technical, like some of the new things, the mask is a big one. They changed the face shield type of the heat resistance of it, so that's an enormous change. And they put some things on it so you can identify that it's a newer mask and not the older one. The air pack stuff, some of it is just the harnesses are different, the type of material they use for the actual support is different. They universalized connectors now, so if you go to a department that doesn't use 3M Scott, you can still use like the RIP pack kind of thing, where if you go in and you need to use their equipment, it's available and you can use it.
MSK and.
Yeah, they're not completely interchangeable, but
The
but
fit-
the fittings are interchangeable, so that if there's an emergency, you can do it, so. And then, and I have no control over NFPA, and if you paid any attention to what's going on with them in OSHA, there's a lot of pushback, because some of the changes are pretty drastic and it's very costly.
All right, so.
So.
Do I understand it
short
correctly?
answer-
Do we have a staggered approach?
We
for
do,
this?
that's what I'm trying to do, stagger the approach, this would cover the normal first line piece, the big ET. And the RIP pack is an emergency thing, that's gonna be on that truck anyway. And the 16 masks cover the paid staff, firefighters, and the volunteers that we have that are interior qualified. So that they would all have the new mask, which meets the new standard, which has to be used with the newer packs, and then it does backfit to the older ones. So at least we're covered in that regard.
How long after this would be approved, would you be able to acquire these masks?
As soon as it gets approved, I send a note to him and say, do it.
Okay,
And then he'll send me the invoice and it's ordered. In fact, I just was working on sending, I have the gear's been ordered, just as a side thing, the PPE's been ordered, so.
all right, so let's do this. How about we go through these and then now we know what that's about. Go through these, that sounds like a very good thing to
Can I
be
ask
putting the
one more
money in.
question before I forget
Oh,
it?
sure.
Interior 1 and 2 or firefighter to go interior,
Fire one
fire
is
1,
minimum qualification.
and what's the difference between a 1 and 2?
Training.
Training, yeah,
Okay.
It's
or
just a different level of training. The
Yeah.
firefighter too is a additional training, additional tactics, a little more advanced.
Do they wear different equipment?
They don't.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, so I think we should go through, sounds tedious, go through all of these and figure out. We've had some that were approved that have never happened. Okay, and are unlikely to happen.
Rick, wanna go
before-
back to Tyke for a minute?
Okay.
Purchase order, it's $125 a month, just remember they changed how they do it, it's set up to record as soon as we go on,
Yes, they
so
don't have
it's
to
not a
do it.
live person anymore.
The only thing it would be a live person for is if we were doing a
special something,
Executive session.
executive session.
right,
And what we've done with those is we've
Yes.
actually made those be at the end of the meeting so that we can
right.
cut off the meeting. and
Alright,
then-
so it's $1,500 a year, 12 months at $125 a month.
Yo, math man.
Say
Yo, yo,
that,
yo.
say that again.
Double check.
$1,500 a year. That's
$750 for
$125 a
6
month
months, is that your question?
for 12 months. I already did it, Roger.
And there's no charges per meeting?
So I would recommend that we do all the way through 2025. So,
So December
June 30th.
26th.
You mean-
It
well,
has
that
to
was
be
the other,
It has to be
Fiscal year.
spent by December 26th, has to be contracted.
correct. So if we're contracting for it, you know, we have 2025 coming up.
Right.
In 2 months. So that's $1,500 for 2025.
Five.
We don't know if they're going to increase their rate. Okay, that's just a thought. And then it would be 1,500 for 2026. We could do that, and so that's basically, I'm gonna say it's 3,000 or 3,500, depending on if they increase their rate. And that way, that's not something you have to throw in the budget.
Now, we're already contracted through June 30th,
Yes,
25.
that's my understanding. And it's been paid out of this. So
Am I wrong, or does the proposed town meeting agenda spell out what we're proposing to bring to the
in
town?
other words, doesn't have to, okay, is that your question?
Yeah, I know we did, but I'm just wondering, do we have to go over every item here, or? have
In
we
the past,
already-
what we've done is we've voted on every item. And I can't remember, I think on our notices, we've put out what each item was. So what I see in what's the proposed legal notice only talks about the receive information on the proposed reallocation of some funds. And then just 2 items on there that were really the electric car charging station. We haven't made any progress
I did a
on.
lump sum. I did a lump sum for the things that weren't previously approved,
Yeah,
so you don't have to do each one of them. I did a lump sum.
Chris, based upon what you put out here in the legal notice,
I'm looking.
when you get down to the second part, how much would be left over afterwards?
Approved allocation of funding approved by the Board of Selectmen prior to authorization. I didn't put a total. I can do that.
Yeah, we just don't know how much that is you put these 2 items on here.
well, do I remember right, at our last meeting, we thought we had uncommitted, including transfers for balancing out overages or whatever, but then we have about $74,000.
But that's without taking away, actually, that's without adding back in funds, for example, for the EV charging station. Okay, that's 20,000. And that's, we also,
So you're saying it's 94?
that's what I would think. The other thing was the balance of funds allocated for Route 44 Tremco signage. Here's, we got the estimate, I just want to show you the picture. Signage like this.
Yeah, I looked at the picture and it was very pretty. I am shocked at the dollar amount.
That's left over.
No,
Oh, the
of
cost?
proposed
Cost what it
cost.
costs.
So that one is what was it,
No, well,
Was
it's,
it
yeah,
$5,500?
$1,000 extra for the
Chris?
gold leaf,
Sorry?
is it $55 for this?
5,500.
Yeah.
That's what I said. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
5,500.
And we still,
I wish you had sold if it was $55.
what happened to our sign on 74th by?
That's a mystery.
It's in somebody's garage. Just nobody knows
That's a
whose.
mystery
It's not
that
mine,
happened
nobody
probably
knows.
2.5 years ago,
Yeah.
3 years ago.
Okay,
I even went out and went back into the woods. I thought maybe some idiots
Yeah.
It
just
is.
took it off and threw it back, there's nowhere around there. Then I was told Mike Gardner might have been repairing it, somebody told me they thought Mike, and he didn't know anything about it,
No, he
so,
had the farmer's market sign
Yeah.
that split,
yeah. But,
and
you
we
know,
checked the
some-
Wellington garage to see if they picked it up, and they didn't. But they
But-
said they didn't.
Anyway, getting back to this sign, if we wanted to go leave, what, 5,500 without a 4,500, or was it?
It was 5,500.
Did we get any other prices from anybody else?
No, we went back to the same people who made all of our other signs.
I don't mind going forward with this amount, but I think it's
Understood,
abusive.
understood.
It's probably abusive, but I think if you go to a new company, because they've done all our signs,
I just,
so they already have the artwork.
Yeah.
And the setup
We
for
could always send them a picture.
Pardon?
We could send them a picture.
Tell them to come out and look at our sign. Because we've already got it.
Well, we want a different sign, but now Mansfield just went and bought a bunch of new signs.
those nice.
Are they using the same vendor?
No, they're different.
Yeah,
Their signs are wood.
Cause
think
I don't know if you've looked at our existing signs. They're starting to get in pretty tough shape. Even this one out here with mildew and
It's faded on one
and
side.
separating.
It must be the sun shines more on one side than the other. Because it's actually faded on one side. I took a picture of that when we were trying to figure out what to do with this.
So you look closely, it's starting to let go with the joints and
All right,
Side.
I need to, sorry.
I just,
What is our last date? What's our drop dead date for having the finalized amounts and items for this town meeting? Drop dead date to have a decision made
The legal notice has to go to Colleen tomorrow.
I have no problem going forward with the cost estimates that we have at hand.
Oh,
I'd
we have
still
one
feel
now.
better if we could make a couple of more calls to see if we can do better on that signage. I just think they're taking advantage of us.
I'll let Chris do that. She talked to the other company.
You can put in the 4,500 and then make calls, just because you
You have
contract.
to have a
Put in
contract.
5,000, I mean, you know,
Yeah, you're gonna need to have a contract, a written contract with that amount.
We're approving it. We haven't signed a contract yet.
No,
So
I
you
know,
have time.
before the end of the month, as I.
this is all,
before the end
this
of
is all I'm
December.
thinking, is we're putting out a meeting notice that's saying these are the amounts that we're asking for approval on. So we need to have those amounts right, because that's what the town is approving, and we're gonna have to have in the contract. So that's my concern. There's one other item I wanted to talk
Because
about.
we have 20,000 budgeted. That was approved.
20,000 for what?
Sign.
That was approved for the sign, okay? Now,
If
In
I
order to
remember
have the
right,
sign,
that
you-
wasn't specific to that sign. This is specific to this one sign. I
right,
think that 20,000 was to repair all of our signs and maybe buy another one, including in that.
I hadn't heard that in all the discussions we've had.
That was my,
That would have been good. Did
understanding.
did we leave off an S on the word sign?
I'd have to go back and look. I'm sure it's in the minutes somewhere when we approved it.
Okay,
And we got town approval for that.
It was Route 40.
we spent so much time going.
Says
through
Because
this.
what happened,
It was crosswalk signage. That's what was approved.
what happened a year and a half or 2 years ago is the housing authority came to me through their director and said the sign is in tough shape, needs to be replaced. We'll pick up the cost for a third of it. And then looking at the condition of our other signs throughout town, we came up with a $20,000 ballpark figure
Ah, okay,
that would include that sign plus give us,
so it just has a bad label,
yes, apparently.
but we would need to get estimates on the other signs that we want repaired or replaced. And if this one is 5,500,
at 5,500 a sign, I think we'll live with what we have for a little while longer.
Get out the paint, and get some screws and
Find an Eagle Scout.
There we go,
then we'll leave it.
an artiste.
All right, so let's solve this, because we got to have apparently we have to put in our meeting notice what the exact amounts are that we're asking for the town to approve for various things. Now, if we get a contract that says it's less than that, not a big deal, but we lose the money. It goes back to, the ARPA folks. It's not the end of the world. It's just, I know some money will end up going back. I just wanted to make it
But
as
if
little as
we
possible.
underestimate it and the costs come in higher than that,
You
then
go
we're on the
wrong.
hook for it.
Yeah, we're on the hook for it. Actually, I thought that one of the rules with ARPA is that whatever you're saying is for, the ARPA funds are to pay for the entirety of it. Not like
A piece.
Not what it actually costs.
the entirety, if you said, I approved it, you approved it for 20,000, then it would be the entire, no, even better. You approved it for 5,500 and it came in at 5,700. You can't take 200 from someplace else to fill in the gap.
I understand
Now,
that.
we're a small municipality in a very big country where every municipality has this.
Mhm.
Everyone that accepted it, and that would be probably the vast majority of it. So I don't know how finite they're gonna be with their reporting and looking at the reporting.
I had heard, because supposedly all of these ARPA funding for each municipality is going to be audited.
Oh, yeah,
But I had heard from a source that I have a lot of respect for.
Yeah.
That's probably 20 years down the road. If they ever get
It's
it.
never gonna happen.
If they ever get to it.
I can't imagine how they can audit all of it. Think about it.
No, what they're gonna do is, I mean,
They're gonna do a blanket
I
look,
appreciate what we got. We all appreciate what we got.
yes.
We're down in the low 5% nationally. What was it? You looked at what
If
they,
we're
you
even
look
there.
at what they give to the big cities, even cities like Hartford and that.
Yeah.
We're no comparison. They're,
You have to remember the sign, $4,500 sign, or however much it is, it's double sided.
Yeah,
all of ours are.
Sign
All of
out
our-
here, I
all of
think
our
is
signs are.
single,
no,
is that double side?
yes, it's faded on the other side.
Okay,
That's why I was saying the sun must hit it just right or something.
But our
Awful.
welcome to Ashford is just one side, right? If we do that one out on 74.
Probably,
I'm not sure, probably. It makes sense if it's one side.
there's
but when you
one on
have the ones that are
Howard
out in front of our
Road,
Yeah,
buildings,
Howard Road,
they're,
one on,
Unfortunately, the fellow that was, I think he was chairman of economic development, Ed Rosenberg,
yeah,
oh, I
he
don't know.
arranged all of that and everything
Right.
else. That was his baby. He had a lot of pride in that.
Mhm.
I
He's not
remember Ed very
listening.
well.
Mhm.
Okay,
so do you want me to,
we need to do a couple things. One, we need to know how much it's gonna cost. Well, the
I
Tyke, we
don't
need to
think we have an
confirm.
alternative. You correct me if I'm wrong, Catherine, to go with the figures we got in front of us. Doesn't mean I have to be happy with that $5,500
I know,
figure.
I know, me either.
I think it's free.
All right, it's $5,500.
I mean, we've made our best effort to come up with a specific cost.
Well, I think the other thing is if we have more, out of the 20,000, if we have more monies that you wanna put into the other signs. That's a matter of, it could be a call tomorrow to go, we want to, with the
Put a
same
welcome Sign
company,
up on 74 and.
figure
what would it
out what
cost to repair
signs,
Our existing signs.
right, to figure
so
out,
do you wanna leave the 20,000 in? Because right now we have 14,500 going back in the pot.
let's continue with the pot a little bit. We have another item that came up that is for our registrars of voters. They need additional security because people come in and they kind of disappear. They can see them coming into the downstairs lobby area because they put up a camera.
Yeah, I don't wanna discuss where we put cameras specifically,
No,
but I'm all in favor of that. I mean,
okay,
more
so they
security.
only have,
Particularly if it's mandated that we have personnel in this building after normal business hours
you got it.
and doors are gonna be open, we need to protect those staff.
Very good. So all they asked for was 2,300. And there's a laptop involved and they'll do that out of their own budget. Okay, and a monitor. They think they can do that just
Why
fine.
wouldn't we try to do that out of the ARPA money?
Okay, Lauren, you're
Yeah.
still on, right?
Yes, I am.
Lauren, Chris, do we have an idea of how much a laptop costs?
The last I
1,500?
remember, we paid either 12 or 1,300 for the laptops that we got, including the software.
What we do, yeah, that was a
Lauren
while
maybe
ago.
got the price already.
I'm sorry?
Does Lauren have the price already?
No, I was just asking
Oh.
her.
No, I don't, because I hadn't gone any further with looking at any of this stuff because I was waiting for you to have a meeting and vote on it. Didn't realize that it wasn't coming with the monitor. So when I knew it was just coming to, we were able to receive a $5,000 grant this year, and I can take the money out of that $5,000 grant to buy whatever the monitor is that I would need.
Do you have other things that you wanted to do with that $5,000 grant?
Actually, just to be upfront about it, we have $11,000 worth of grant money this year that has to be spent or else we lose it. So I think that we can afford this year anything extra that we need.
Do you think you still need to have the cameras go through ARPA?
No, we just thought that we were going through ARPA because you had the money and you didn't want to lose the money.
Correct, but you have the same issue with the grant money, right?
Yeah.
Thank you for putting it over here, for ARPA.
But if she's got 11,000 and that we don't want to lose that either.
I only am
And
I'm
ARPA
only at
pretty
risk of
good.
losing 6,000. So I mean, if you want, we'll pay for the whole thing. We need the security. But other than that, I think that we're pretty set with, I will be able to spend the money. Wherever you decide that it needs to be spent from, that's where we'll spend it from. If we have to just buy the monitor, we'll buy the monitor.
Okay, so
And the
I
laptop.
need to ask just one more time. If in fact we paid for the cameras out of ARPA and everything else you needed to support that was paid out of your grant money, the remaining grant money, do you have things that you can do that use that money for that position you?
Yes, we're using it for personnel, so we don't lose the money, and then we'll most likely have money to return back to the town. So that's what we're doing. We're using the grant money to pay for the personnel.
Oh, for the personnel. And we
Yep.
when's our next election? So
November, we have a budget referendum in May, and we have the next municipal election is in November.
right, I'd like to make sure you had the money for your personnel.
And ARPA, that's one thing we can't spend money on.
Right.
It's personnel.
All right, so if we were to leave the cameras in for ARPA, it's not that much money. I would recommend that.
I go along with that.
Okay, Lauren?
I'm very happy with that. Thank you, because Colleen and I are very often left alone till 8 p.m. And I'd be more comfortable with the cameras.
Understood.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Lauren.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, so the things we don't think we will have contracts for or whatever. I know, Chris, what are you looking at? So we can follow.
What do you want to, Chris,
What are you looking at?
Sorry,
What are you looking at?
for information for,
ARPA.
If we look at the last page, it's a portrait orientation. Looks like this.
Mhm.
Okay, items for consideration. 20,000 can go back into the pot if the electric car charging station comes out. 14,500 can go back into the pot if the crosswalk sign quote of 5,500 is accepted. And we're not looking for more signs in that 20,000. And the new funding requests, and then So how does that net out for us? Like, we have 118,500 that's approved but uncontracted. And those are blue. This is approved but uncontracted, yet we have the basketball court we already did. There's 200 left from that. The replacement of the senior center countertop, there's 100 left from that. Senior center split units did well, 5,100 left from that. We reallocated it to the pot, so I don't know what approved but uncontracted means for blue. Denotes items approved by town meeting but not contracted yet, so I think that's confusing.
Well, like the bunker gear has been done,
Sorry,
like mine, it says 40,000, the bunker gear, I just sent the invoice to Chris today,
oh, did you?
like literally 5 minutes. Still today.
Today.
If we
So-
come up more money than we've designated,
Say that another way.
if we come up defining monies less than what we have supposedly left over, can we designate that? I know you said we need a contract, but like what we appropriated for social services, we never had a contract. Can we, if there's a balance left over after we're done with our deliberations here, have 20,000 left over? Can we designate that to our social service department for things like fuel assistance, food distribution?
I think what you would do is you
Okay,
would
ask
have to
Irene.
have in the town meeting, you'd have to have approval for that amount, so you'd have to guesstimate it or whatever.
And they asked Irene if she needed money. And she said no,
Who asked?
Laura and Sherry,
She doesn't need money now,
right,
but how about 2026?
And who knows what
Who knows what's
what
going on?
happens with fuel, I mean, there's a lot of. I'm just saying, I don't wanna come
I
up
know.
short of what we've been appropriated by the feds to spend.
Correct.
If we do, can we use something like a general department like social services and put the balance left over into that department?
You could put, you can't really say, hey, the balance, we're just gonna put over there. It has to be an amount that the town approves, okay, to put over there.
Well, you're not gonna know that until
You wouldn't,
after our meeting on Saturday, that Saturday. What they approve, I'm gonna assume they're gonna approve everything, but we've learned. we
we're gonna
should
tell them
not-
the money's gonna go back if they don't,
Right,
and that should have some influence.
so what I'm hearing is we have to have a specific amount at that town meeting. We can't say any surplus left over, our intention is to designate it to fuel assistance.
I don't think so. I'm trying to think of who we could ask. The
Nancy,
only people I think we could ask would be NECOG, who's doing our administration.
CCM or NECOG or another town that's got spending a lot more money than we have, like Mansfield.
I was thinking. So their town managers, what you're talking about.
Or they have a finance director. I always used to go, I don't know if you worked with him when you were on the Board of Finance, but Jeff Smith was
Well, I remember Jeff.
fantastic.
I remember Jeff and I remember Tequila and.
That's why
the
we,
whole-
we brought him, well, you must remember, we brought him in as a consultant. Boy, that was money well spent.
Yeah,
So I don't know if there's a new Jeff Smith over there or not.
That's a little bit-
But I'm sure we're not the only town that's faced with this dilemma.
Basically, it's can we allocate a, whatever is a remainder to something like social services. And by the way, with that, it could not be personnel. It
We
has
know
to be,
that.
it could be for food, it could be those kinds of.
I'm
things.
thinking fuel. You know, utility assistance.
What is it when you, what's the thing, Chris, that we did with some people where they didn't have money, but they needed to do some kind of an upgrade in their house, and we gave them money. It's a particular contract that we ended up with.
Right, that's the
Small
housing
cities.
rehab, small
That's the
cities
small
money.
cities grants.
Oh, it's just through that, okay. Okay,
Alright,
fuel,
all funds
electricity,
remain
food.
subject to statutory requirements. They must be used for costs incurred by the recipient during the period that begins March 3rd, 2021, ends December 31st, 2024, and that award funds for the financial obligations incurred by December 31st must be expended by December 31st, 2026.
Correct.
All
So-
funds not used must be returned to Treasury as part of the award closeout process.
So. I can do some calling tomorrow to ask about this remaining thing.
Mhm.
Do we have anybody that we worked with in town, with town council on this? We haven't, right?
I always went to Duncan.
I have the Friday
Ken
afternoon phone
Slater.
call with him all the time.
Yeah,
It's like a last minute thing. He's
I
great.
mean, you know, a lot of these things are referred to Ken Slater. I don't know how much you talk with him.
Yeah.
Those are the two that I really relied on the most over there.
But we are not the only municipality encountering this issue, so I think that,
NECOG's a good,
I
Good
think
call.
one is NECOG, now I know they got the new guy in there. There's NECOG, there's certainly Mansfield, there's also, although it probably won't make a difference, Bolton with Jim Rupert, because they used a big amount of money for a big thing. They didn't use, like we did, a lot of smaller things.
I mean, CCM, you know,
I know who you talked to CCM about to get a quick answer on this. We can try to get that answer tomorrow.
I have no problem with going with the figures that we're proposing, because you've got to get this posted, submitted tomorrow.
Let's say it's gotta go into the citizen. Right? The citizen. So it's now the 18th. Actually, I'll be working tonight on the stuff I've got to get in
She's planning on submitting a copy tomorrow, is
tomorrow.
what she told me.
I got one from her too. She said, I'll be working to finish those tomorrow when I receive them. She didn't say anything about sending over a copy, but if she told you that. So that would be the 19th. The guy could probably live to the 20th.
Why don't we, when we make a motion, authorize the first selectwoman to make adjustments regarding language with allocations proposed to go into social services.
Okay, that's one aspect of it. Please don't make the motion yet.
No, I'm just
Yeah.
thinking out loud here.
Yeah, well, there's another thing too. Based upon the amounts we're talking about here, based upon taking out, say, maybe that 20,000 for the electric car charging station, which will be unpopular with a group in town. But if we did that, and we also had the 14,500 going back into the pot, do we have enough to also do the thing at Pompey Hollow Park? Do we have 20,000? Because
Well, it's-
we're
if
adding
you have
monies back in.
20,000 just for the electric charger out here, that's a wash.
I know it would be a wash. I'm asking,
Are you asking?
oh, I was thinking that, I was thinking that we needed to take the 20,000 out or put it back in the pot in order to field, for example, the 61,000 for you. I just wanna get to like a net number.
I thought we had the 61,000.
So Chris,
If you go to the key page,
Yeah.
got it. Looking at it. That's what I was trying to
after
figure
we
out
do
from,
those things that I have listed,
yes.
we have 43,680, so you can add the trail.
Oh, wait, we have 43, wait a minute, how much do we have?
The bottom line,
It's at the
43.
bottom of the page,
This page?
the page with colored.
Oh, here it is. I didn't see
43,680.
that. So we could do the thing in the park. And we could actually, if we didn't want to take all the money out of the signage, we could use the 20,000 for the extra, the 14,500 for more signage. Right? Because we'd just be taking the 20,000, throwing it back in the pot. Let's see, so that means we would have an unallocated balance of, if I take away the 20,000 from that, then we have 23,680.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Oh, well, math man,
No,
okay, so that's 23,680. And what we could do, we also haven't talked about Tyke. Doing the Tyke thing, which we're thinking could be, we could do it for 2 years.
You said-
2025,
You said
2026.
3,500 outside. Are you gonna be able to get a proposal from them in writing? You said you needed?
Well, he's in tomorrow. So, but let's just say it's 3,500.
so now we're
That
down
then
to
leaves us with about basically
380.
20,180. Right?
Yep.
Which then we could allocate to social services
For fuel and
for fuel, electricity, and food support. And
How are
And
you
if
gonna
in fact-
substantiate it without something in writing from whoever?
Irene,
Irene, how did we do it before? We put it
we
up to
just
the
gave it to
town
them.
and,
It was
no, we put it up to the town, said we want to give her 20,000, then we gave her another 20,000.
Mhm.
And we could just say that we want to give that,
I think the first
20,180.
one we did is an emergency act, if I remember right. And then the next one, we did an allocation. It was approved through the
Okay.
normal.
so
But
the
it was a
fact that we're,
bookkeeping transfer.
they say contracts, but you could also have, I would think, part of your plan. You know, because when you're allocating it for, they're thinking of physical things,
Cameras or something like that.
yeah, or fences or
Or
whatever, that
Didn't
kind of
wait for
thing.
a sign.
Again, I'm not, our fences have been approved on that other sheet, is that?
Oh, yeah, our fences are fine.
Okay.
We already did that. They've got 18,000 for the fence they were
Okay.
trying to do for 8.
You mean? We've already done the estimate we got in from Greg Peck. That's included somewhere?
What's his thing?
Oh,
Mowing?
yeah, an estimate from.
No.
Oh, the fences, oh, yes, we've already got that.
Fence mending.
We already got that.
Yeah. And we're gonna have money left over.
We had 3 ends, we had
To
3.
install fence, guardrail, Ashford Memorial.
Yep,
Yes.
16,000.
No, 18,500.
Oh, you know what? He did come, his did say 18,000.
I don't
We
know,
had
the one I'm
3
looking at
bids.
says $16,005.
Yep.
You're talking about what was approved. Oh, wait, is that his estimate?
Yep.
Does it say Greg on the top?
It
Yep.
does.
Great pick.
What are you looking at, Chris?
Ashford Memorial Park, AMP fencing. We had 8,500, Casey asked for an extra 10.
So we have, we've got extra. If there's something extra we need to have done there, he can write up a little contract for it. It could be another gate. So he's got 18,500, and Bill, one more time on his estimate, it was 16,000 something,
$16,005.
$5.
$5.
That's labor and materials.
Yeah.
So if you add the trail,
Yep.
And if you add Tyke,
Yeah.
you have an unallocated balance of 20,180.
That's what I have. And that's what we go to social services. We gave money to social services before. There should be no different.
I
doing it
remember
now.
two sums of $20,000.
Sorry? Yeah, we gave two, yeah, we gave her $40,000
Separate, yeah.
overall. And we did that through town approval. So we could allocate the, that, we could say in the meeting that we're allocating those monies to that. With town approval.
I shouldn't say this, but I can't imagine anybody having a problem with that.
God help us if they do.
You wanna spend it out of ARPA, or you wanna spend it out of,
I'm just, yeah.
Or do you not want to give them what they need?
or deprive them of?
Yes. So Chris, based on what we just talked about, are you comfortable with the approach?
I think so.
Okay, good. So we can finalize the wording tomorrow.
I'm putting the 14,500 in the pot for the sign,
Okay,
right? That's all.
No, you don't have to do that. Oh, wait, because you did do
Yes,
it,
I
that, you
did.
had it in the pot when you did
Yeah.
your estimate. Yeah, so no, it wouldn't go back into the pot. I mean, it would go into the pot.
You ready for a motion?
I've got all kinds of emotions.
Don't we all?
Right,
They're
Go
gonna
for it.
authorize Catherine to make adjustments.
I'm
With
going to
it?
make a motion to approve the calling for the publication of legal notice for the calling of a public hearing and special town meeting to be held on Saturday, December 7th at 10 a.m. at the lower level meeting room, town office building. To be held in person only.
And that would be for the purpose of,
For the purpose of, and I'm not gonna read this whole thing,
It's all right.
we can fix.
and as an addition to that motion, authorizing the first select woman to make adjustments in line with final tabulations of all adjustments and proposals.
Very good.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? One more thing I just want to mention in passing, and I'm not gonna sweat it at this point, is that when we contracted with NECOG for ARPA filing support, when you look at the years, it doesn't take us all the way through, say, 2026. I don't wanna worry about that right now. Because
Say that again,
the,
with NECOG?
when we contracted with NECOG for, if you'll look on the first page of this thing, it was NECOG, ARPA admin 21-22, then 22-23, 23-24, 24-25. Not seeing any 25-26 or 26 6 months.
And was that reimbursed by ARPA funds?
Yes. What we did was we approved it at town meeting.
Well, do we need to add that? For the final tabulation?
it-
I don't even remember how much it was. It wasn't a lot of money.
What we had, it was 2,260 is going to be for 24-25. So it's no more than
2,500.
2,500.
Why don't we add that to the list? You say,
If we add
are
it
they
to the,
still filing reports for us?
so if we add it to the list, it'll just negate
down
from
the
the
social
20,180. And we'll have to, I'll have to call there to see, we don't have a contract for that part. And ask them, and if they say, no, everything's covered, then the money goes back to social services, okay? So that's the call to NECOG tomorrow.
I move the motion.
All in favor?
I,
Aye, opposed, abstained, motion passes, thank you. That only hurt a little bit. Okay, finalized public hearing, special town meeting, legal notice. That is looking at the legal notice, and based upon what we've talked about now, I would think that the only real changes, and please look at it closely, because we don't want to screw up our legal notice. It would have receive information on the proposed reallocation of yada, yada, yada. So Chris, we would have to readdress this. Okay. So what we were saying is, yes, put the 20,000 back in, put the 14,500 back in. Okay, so that's right. Receive information on the masks and packs. Receive information on the proposed purchase of 2 turret cameras for registrars and voters. And then it's going to be receive information on the 20,000 for the park thing,
Tyke.
park and Tyke. And
Social services.
social services. And hopefully we will not have people voting against any of these, because I think I would walk out. It's like, how bad do you have to be? Okay, and
No
then
comment.
approve allocation of funding approved by the Board of Selectmen prior to authorization of the town meeting.
When given a challenge, people
Yeah.
Yeah.
have the ability to meet expectations.
And so we need to fix the bottom part too.
I forgot to put the balance in, it's in the agenda, $78,672. That didn't go to town meeting.
Okay, what does that mean?
That's where we came up with our breakdown of our new expended recommendations.
Yeah.
What was that figure again, Chris?
I'm sorry?
78,673.
78?
672. See your agenda.
Say it one more time.
78,672.
2, okay. Okay,
It's on that key sheet.
Chris, any concerns about what we're gonna fix in the,
I don't know,
Notice?
I have to look at it. So town enjoy.
I'll eyeball it after you. And then we have update on Cadle Rock / EPA lien status. The only thing is that we have provided materials to Tanaka, the selectman in Wellington, who I've met with. He's fun.
Mhm.
And lunch with
Okay.
him.
Good guy.
The yeah, he is a good guy. And so we provided materials for him, but what we want to do is Chris and I want to bring him over here, sit him down and take him through a Reader's Digest version of what's happened with Cadle Rock.
Mhm.
So he has a nice, at least a nice sense of it when he actually is joined in the conversation at some point with Ann, our attorney, our common attorney. Chris, do we have anything else we want to say about Cadle Rock?
No, we sent a packet to him of background information, timelines and stuff like that. You know, as basic as we could put together.
He must have got something also from his predecessor. She was pretty up to date.
Yeah, she was pretty good. I don't know what he has. I don't know how big a reader he is for something that's like this. Okay, so economic development. We don't have any more vacancies to my knowledge. Inland wetlands and water courses. We have a person who resigned, who is not, I don't think she's resigned to the town clerk.
Who is that?
It's not,
Now, is Lenny's opening included on this list? Len Legore?
I believe so. have to look.
I think
It's
he
been a
was a
while.
6/1,
Is he
2025.
the regular member?
Lenny? Yeah,
No, I mean, is that the one they're showing as an opening
I believe so,
expired
yes.
June 1st? Because I think they had in mind moving up one of their alternates
To bring one of their alternates up.
up. I don't
Okay.
remember which one
Well,
Lenny said.
we'll take a look at this. It's not the end of the world if we don't have it quite
No,
right yet.
no.
Ag Commission, didn't have anything for that. Zoning Board of Appeals.
We have the Schillinger resignation.
No, he is, oh yeah, he's
Planning and zoning.
Planning and zoning, okay.
planning and zoning. So we will add that.
And there's Conservation Commission.
Oh, and the Conservation
Steve Rico
Commission.
resigned.
And they're regular members. Tax refunds. Do we have any tax refunds?
No.
Good. Consider an act upon, appointments. I never got to make the phone calls to different individuals, but Paul, you want to be on Capital Improvement Committee? I think so.
I will be.
I anticipate that Christina is going to be on. I believe that Chuck Funk will be as well. The who else? I'm on
Cindy
there.
Ford.
Cindy as well. And
Casey.
and Casey. And we ought to have somebody from the community at large.
Chuck Funk.
Well, that is Chuck,
Yeah.
okay.
I will make the motion to appoint those that we just discussed to
Thank you.
serve on
So who was
the
that? Funk, Ford, Casey,
Cindy,
Cindy,
Christina Davis.
first select woman,
And Paul,
Marga.
we're gonna let Paul be there. Is that
To serve
five?
on the
Six.
CNR.
I got six.
capital
Yeah, I got
improvement.
6. Okay, you're making the motion, Bill?
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Roger. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you very much. What I'd like to do is, now that we have appointed them, I'll do a quick double check. And then tell them when the meeting's gonna be. One of the things too,
by the
that
way,
I
I'll teach
didn't,
them you missed a meeting.
one of the things I didn't mention, and I'll just mention in passing, is that the Board of Finance has put forth a proposed budget calendar. And what it shows, it starts with that all of the departments will have their information in on January 10th. That's not good enough. That only gives us from, and believe me, they don't all have it in then, because they're aiming for that and they miss it. February 28th is when we are supposed to have the documented proposed budget to the Board of Finance so that they can have a week or whatever to look at before we ever, have to go before them. And they can develop their questions for us, which was a good process. But what I did was I pushed back and I said, we're gonna have to move up our calendar for the different departments having their budgets submitted. It can't wait till January 10th. And not only that, the audit isn't finished. So last year was a nightmare with the audit, that being in the throes of the audit. This, I know they're going back and forth on a few things with the school. I don't know if there's anything else. But I'm disappointed that the audit will not be done by the end of the year. Because when it carries over, that also takes time away from our treasurer, who we need for budget planning. Plus anything else that's, any kind of reporting we do at the end of the year.
So the
So,
first selectman can meet with the departments and ask that.
so
they
what,
give them
what
any
what I'm
kind
gonna
of
do,
audit.
I'm gonna work with, I've already talked to Sherry, I did last week, actually. And we're gonna work up a tighter schedule for the departments getting their amounts in. And what I also said, so like maybe January 4th, but not all the way out to the 10th. Give us, because again, you've got to have, once they've submitted it, then you end up with multiple meetings with them. I had at least 4 with the treasurer, the tax collector last year. So I anticipate there's going to be meetings where they have to explain things, and then there's some back and forth in terms of proving what you've asked for is what you really need, before it even gets to you folks.
Did Roger and I get copies of that tentative schedule from the board? of
Yes,
Finance?
they haven't published it yet. They're gonna finalize it this Thursday.
Okay.
I asked them, I said, I wanna be able to do more stuff up front, and I need to work out that schedule with Sherry. And that, we'd go from there. So they're giving the time to do that.
Sherry said they're waiting for Region 19's final dates.
I have those dates. So
We
you
know when
gave
the
them- you gave them to me.
Referendum is and all of that,
So their referendum, you said is May 6th?
first Tuesday, yep.
My birthday. It's always near my birthday. Which used to be a lot of fun when I was Board of Finance. The budget, their Ashford Town budget meeting is Tuesday, April 22nd, and then the public hearing is Tuesday, April 8th for us. So working backwards like we have in the past. Oh, and what I asked the Board of Finance was, rather than the departments sending their budget request and their annual report, I would rather they did their budget request first and their annual report came January 10th, 15th, whatever. It's more important to get the numbers because we actually do go back and forth trying to make those numbers jive or even match up in the system. So I know that's what we did last year. I'll never forget. I'm still bruised. Okay, and what we haven't talked about here is act on approval of the 2025 Board of Selectmen meeting calendar.
So moved.
Second.
Wait, have you even seen it?
Yes.
I don't think
There's 5 Tuesdays in there. That are
Okay.
because of.
holiday oriented.
Yeah. I went through
And-
it.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
say that.
Okay, that's fine with me. Who made the motion?
I did.
I seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
I,
Thank you. And let's not talk about agenda items for upcoming Board of Selectmen meetings. I don't have any brain power left.
8:37.
8:37, thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
Adjourned.
Good job on, to all on the Veterans Day thing.
I heard positive things.
Yeah, no,
I'm sorry I couldn't be there.
no, you can't be here, you can't be here, but I'm just saying.
Oh,
Wanna
on
send
the,
out
on the
kudos.
Veterans Day,
Veterans
Yeah,
Day on the
Veterans
night,
Day.
yeah.
those kids were great.
Yep, no, you know. And I did,
I couldn't stop smiling.
no, everything,
And the, I want to call him the general,
yeah,
Brigadier General
Yeah.
Commissioner. He was like having my husband with me. I
Yeah.
drop a pen, he's picking it up.
yeah,
I
okay,
wrap myself up in the cord, he's helping me out.
yeah. okay.
What did happen is there was supposed to be coordination between Senator Gordon's office and Senator Flexer's office, and it did not happen. So as a result, Senator Flexer's, well, first of all, Senator Gordon's certificates, we had some misspellings, whatever, so we didn't give those ones to the people. We explained and we said we're going to, and there were none for Senator Flexer, nor was she there. So we're trying to figure out what happened.
Day.
I liked working with, but, and I think that unfortunately Senator Gordon's nose was a little bit out of joint because I
He's
think.
still on the Zoom.
Oh. We're adjourned. But nobody else is on. I'll ask him to cut the,
I just didn't want to.
oh, thank you. Yeah,